And we're at the halfway point of the campaign. Time for some serious talk with Andrew, Alan, and Chantel. And have you heard enough about the debates? If you said yes, you're wrong, because you haven't heard Rex yet. It has been a mystery for a year now why Stephen Harper fired Helena Guergis, kicked her out of the Conservative Party, and ordered an RCMP investigation. Guergis says Harper has never told her what he had on her. Tonight, we can tell you. The allegations are stunning, but even more stunning, they were based on one source who had no evidence. The CBC's Laurie Graham has this story tonight.
Stephen Harper appeared confident and convinced the day he fired Helena Guergis.
Last night, my office became aware of serious allegations regarding the conduct of the Honourable Helena Guergis.
That was a year ago, and to this day, the Prime Minister has never explained what those allegations were. Now, the answer. CBC News has obtained the letter sent by Ray Novak, Stephen Harper's principal secretary, to RCMP Commissioner William Elliott. The Prime Minister has asked me, wrote Novak, to provide a list of allegations about Guergis and her husband, Rahim Jaffer. That list was stunning. Fraud, extortion, and a suggestion that Guergis had involvement in prostitution. It was a startling allegation made on behalf of the Prime Minister and without a single shred of hard evidence. In fact, Novak even told the Commissioner the Prime Minister's office had no first-hand knowledge of the allegations, but that a man named Derek Snowdy did. Snowdy is a private investigator who supposedly provided information to Conservative Party lawyer Arthur Hamilton. Hamilton later met with two RCMP investigators on the 5th floor of this building. CBC News has obtained a transcript of that interview. Much of it has been redacted, but what is there is filled with astounding allegations about Jaffer and Guergis, partying with hookers, doing cocaine, and then he singled out Guergis with this incriminating claim that there was apparently video of the former Minister of State for the Status of Women snorting cocaine off the breast of a prostitute. But then Hamilton added he had no verification of that. In fact, he cited newspaper articles as an additional source of information. At that point, the RCMP asked if Hamilton was aware of anybody who could back up his claims. He said, "I am not," but he did confirm he spoke with Derek Snowdy. We contacted Arthur Hamilton. He refused to comment. In one of the last exchanges with the Mounties, Hamilton had this request: "I assume my meeting with you is not going to be disclosed." As for the so-called source, Derek Snowdy, here's what he said under oath about Helena Guergis.
I have no evidence or no information with respect to conduct of Ms. Guergis in my possession or knowledge.
After an exhaustive 3-month investigation, the RCMP reported back to PMO. The investigation disclosed no evidence to support a charge under the criminal code. Even after she was cleared, Stephen Harper never talked to Helena Guergis. No one has ever apologized, and she has never been allowed back into Cabinet, caucus, or the Conservative Party. Laurie Graham, CBC News, Toronto.
So where are all those people today who are mentioned in Laurie's story? Helena Guergis is running for re-election as an independent Conservative in the Ontario riding of Simcoe Grey. Her husband, Rahim Jaffer, is a stay-at-home dad to their infant son. Arthur Hamilton is still a Conservative Party lawyer. And Derek Snowdy is still working as a private investigator. Ray Novak remains Stephen Harper's right-hand man as his principal secretary. The documents that form the basis of Laurie's report tonight were obtained through access to information by Helena Guergis herself. Out on the campaign trail today, the quest for the so-called ethnic vote had two leaders treading in some hot water today. Michael Ignatieff was forced to defend his own actions, while Stephen Harper had to deal with a candidate with possible ties to a banned terrorist group. Our senior correspondent, Terry Malevsky, has that story for us tonight. Terry.
Well, Peter, Michael Ignatieff spent the day in Ontario and Quebec, and he also did a bunch of ethnic media interviews. But this battle for ethnic votes can trip leaders up in some embarrassing ways.
Michael Ignatieff did a radio interview today with a well-known voice in the Punjabi language media, Sukhminder Hansra, an editor and radio host who is part of the Sikh separatist movement.
If you become a prime minister, what will you be doing on these fronts?
Hansra was an odd choice because just 3 weeks ago he denounced the Liberals for alleged defamation of the Sikh community. His target was a Liberal MP, Ujjal Dosanjh, a veteran critic of violence by Sikh extremists, who was nearly killed 25 years ago by an extremist. But Sukhminder Hansra has praised the attack on Dosanjh, and he's also applauded the 1984 assassination of Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, calling the killers martyrs.
If I'm talking about the murders, entire Sikh community is talking about murders.
So why was a man who endorsed violence getting a one-on-one with Ignatieff?
Terry, there's absolutely no place in Canada for the endorsement of political violence in any form. I've always been clear about that. I always will. I've no truck or trade with that kind of politics.
Even so, Ignatieff went ahead with the interview, pointing out correctly that everyone does it. Hansra's also met with Stephen Harper, although his staff says it was just a picture, not an interview. Others include Ontario Premier Dalton McGuinty and NDP leader Jack Layton. Hansra's also appeared on CBC. But troublesome ethnic associations are not just a Liberal problem. A Conservative candidate was linked today to the Tamil Tigers, banned by the Conservatives as a terrorist group. Raghavan Paranchotti hosted a tribute to the Tigers just last November.
We've made them a banned group under the Act.
Harper deflected questions about that, but what about another Conservative who wrote a letter asking for people in ethnic costumes to provide a backdrop for a Harper rally in Etobicoke?
That is not how we do business. So, I just think that's bizarre, and that's not our approach.
Still, the Conservative quest for ethnic colour led to a counter-demonstration, spoofing the idea.
Of course, many of these so-called very ethnic ridings are also swing ridings that are key to this election. So leaders are keen to court notables in the ethnic communities, and they're not always too picky about who they are. Peter.
All right, Terry, thanks very much. Terry Milewski. Well, it appears the election campaign could soon be rocked by a massive document dump. Thousands of secret files about what the Harper government knew about the alleged torture of Afghan prisoners. The opposition has been demanding to see the documents for 3 years. So why now? Our Greg Weston has the answer for us tonight. Greg.
Peter, the election campaign trail may soon be littered in thousands of top-secret government documents on Canada's role in Afghanistan. At issue are more than 10,000 documents on the treatment of Afghan prisoners captured by Canadian forces and turned over to local authorities. Opposition parties have long accused the Harper government of hiding the truth. So, for the past 10 months, 2 former Supreme Court judges have been deciding which documents could be made public. But now that the judges have a mountain of documents ready to be released, there's a hitch. An agreement to release the documents to Parliament, which is shut down until after the election. That agreement was signed by Stephen Harper, Michael Ignatieff, and Gilles Duceppe. The NDP wanted no part of it. Ignatieff was quick to say he would gladly amend the agreement to get the documents released immediately.
There's another report coming out with documents on the Afghan detainees. It's available. Let the people see it. Let the people judge. That's how it works in Canada, Mr. Harper. Let the people judge.
Whatever is necessary to make the information available to the Canadian public and to parliamentarians, we're prepared to do that. It's an important issue. We recognize that.
And so the release of some of the most contentious political documents in recent history appear to rest in the hands of Bloc Québécois leader Gilles Duceppe. And in an election campaign, any one of those documents is a potential political landmine. Peter?
All right, Greg, thanks very much. Greg Weston in Ottawa tonight.